Hey B, I was wondering if we could discuss academic writing styles and documentation systems. I've been trying to improve my writing and avoid any issues with plagiarism.
Sure, a academic writing style is quite structured and formal. It's essential to present your arguments clearly and support them with evidence from credible sources. The tone is usually impersonal and objective.
That makes sense. What about documentation styles? I've heard there are several types.
Yes, there are various documentation styles, such as APA, MLA, Chicago, and Harvard. Each has specific guidelines for citing sources and formatting documents. For instance, APA is commonly used in the social sciences, while MLA is preferred in the humanities.
I see. So, why is plagiarism considered such a serious matter in academic writing?
Plagiarism is a serious offense because it involves using someone else's work or ideas without proper attribution. It's a form of intellectual theft and can have severe consequences, including academic penalties, loss of credibility, and legal repercussions.
Wow, I didn't realize it was that serious. So, to avoid plagiarism, we should always paraphrase, right?
Exactly. Paraphrasing is a useful skill that involves rephrasing someone else's ideas in your own words while retaining the original meaning. It shows that you understand the material and can articulate it in a new way.
When is the best time to paraphrase, and how should I go about it?
You should paraphrase when you want to integrate someone else's ideas into your writing without using their exact words. To do this, read the original text carefully, understand the meaning, and then rewrite it in your own words. Make sure to cite the source even when you paraphrase.
Could you give me an example of proper paraphrasing?
Sure. Let's say the original text is, "The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog." A good paraphrase could be, "A swift, dark-colored fox leaps over a lethargic dog." This captures the essence of the original sentence, but uses different words and structure.
That's helpful. So, always paraphrase accurately and cite the sources, right?
Absolutely. Paraphrasing is about demonstrating your understanding and creating original content based on existing knowledge, all while giving proper credit to the original authors.
Hey B, I've been trying to improve my academic writing skills and understand more about the various aspects of it. Can we discuss academic writing styles, documentation styles, the importance of avoiding plagiarism, and the correct way to paraphrase?
Of course. Let's start with the academic writing style. Academic writing is formal and objective. It's essential to present your arguments clearly and support them with evidence from credible sources. The tone is usually impersonal, and the language should be precise and concise.
Got it. What about the different documentation styles? I know there are several, but I'm not sure when to use each one.
There are indeed several documentation styles, each suited for different fields of study. The most common ones include APA, MLA, Chicago, and Harvard styles. APA, or the American Psychological Association style, is commonly used in the social sciences. It focuses on the author's name and the date of publication. MLA, or the Modern Language Association style, is preferred in the humanities, especially for writing on language and literature. It emphasizes the author's name and the page number from where the information is taken.
How about the Chicago and Harvard styles?
The Chicago style is versatile and used in various disciplines, from history to the arts. It offers two systems, the notes and bibliography system, which is often used in the humanities, and the author date system, which is more common in the sciences. The Harvard style is another author date system, widely used in the natural and social sciences. It emphasizes the author's name and the year of publication, making it easy to see the recency of the sources cited.
That's really helpful. So why is plagiarism considered such a serious matter in academic writing?
Plagiarism is serious because it involves using someone else's work or ideas without proper attribution. It's a form of intellectual theft and violates academic integrity. Plagiarism undermines the credibility of your work, can lead to severe academic penalties like failing grades or expulsion, and even has legal repercussions in some cases. It disrespects the original authors and the time and effort they put into their work.
I didn't realize the consequences were that severe. To avoid plagiarism, paraphrasing is crucial, right?
Exactly. Paraphrasing is a vital skill in academic writing. It involves rephrasing someone else's ideas in your own words while retaining the original meaning. This shows that you understand the material and can articulate it independently. Paraphrasing correctly also helps you integrate sources seamlessly into your work without over-relying on direct quotes.
When should I paraphrase, and what's the correct way to do it?
You should paraphrase when you want to incorporate someone else's ideas into your work without using their exact words. To paraphrase correctly, follow these steps. Read the original text carefully until you fully understand its meaning. Put the text aside and write out the concept in your own words. Compare your paraphrase with the original text to ensure you've captured the essential ideas without copying the phrasing. Cite the source appropriately to give credit to the original author, even though you've rewritten the material.
Could you provide an example of proper paraphrasing?
Absolutely. Let's take an example from a simple sentence. The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. A proper paraphrase could be, a swift, dark-colored fox leaps over a lethargic dog. This rephrases the original sentence using different words and structure while maintaining the same meaning.
That makes sense. How about a more complex example?
Sure. Suppose the original text is, in recent studies, it has been observed that students who engage in regular physical activity tend to perform better academically. A good paraphrase might be, recent research indicates that students who participate in regular exercise often achieve higher academic performance. This paraphrase conveys the same information, but with different wording and structure.
So, always ensure that the paraphrase is in my own words and structure, and don't forget to cite the source. Is that right?
Exactly. Paraphrasing demonstrates your understanding and ability to convey information creatively while giving proper credit to the original authors. It's a crucial skill to master in academic writing to avoid plagiarism and maintain integrity in your work.
Hey B, I've been reading up on academic writing and I'm curious about quoting. Could you explain when and how to quote, especially in law style?
Absolutely. A quoting is when you use the exact words from a source. You should quote when the original wording is particularly powerful, clear, or expressive, or when the author's exact words are necessary to your argument.
Okay, but how exactly do I quote in law style?
In law style, when you quote, you need to include the author's last name and the page number from which the quote is taken in parentheses right after the quote. For example, if you were quoting from a book by Smith, you would write, quote, Smith 23.
Got it. What about citing the sources in the works cited list? How do I format that?
In law, the works cited entry should provide full information about the source. The general format includes the author's name, the title of the source, the title of the container, other contributors, version, number, publisher, publication date, and location. Let's break that down. Author, this is the name of the person who wrote the source. In the works cited list, it's formatted as last name, first name. Title of source, this is the title of the specific work you are referencing, such as an article, book chapter, or web page. It's placed in quotation marks if it's a part of a larger work or italicized if it's a standalone work. Title of container, this is the larger work that contains the source, like a book, journal, or website. It's italicized and followed by a comma.
So the container is the larger work that holds the source. What about other contributors?
Other contributors can include editors, translators, or directors, depending on the type of source. They are listed after the title of the container and formatted as edited by, translated by, or directed by, followed by their names.
And the version? How is that included?
If the source is part of a specific version, like an edition of a book or a version of a film, you include that information next. For example, second ed, director's cut, etc.
What about the number? When is that used?
The number is used if the source is part of a numbered sequence, like a volume and issue number for journal articles. For example, volume 5, no. 2.
And the publisher, publication date, and location?
The publisher is the organization or company that produced or distributed the work. The publication date is the year the work was published. The location is where the work can be found, such as the page numbers for a book chapter or the URL for an online source. For example, Smith, John. The Great Book. Penguin, 2019, pages 23-35.
That's quite detailed. Could you provide an example of a full MLA citation?
Sure. Here's an example for a book, Smith, John. The Great Book. Penguin, 2019. And for a journal article, Jones, Mary. Interesting article. Journal of Important Studies, Volume 10, No. 3, 2020, pages 45-67.
And if the article was accessed online?
If accessed online, you'd add the URL at the end, Jones, Mary. Interesting article. Journal of Important Studies, Volume 10, No. 3, 2020, pages 45-67. www.journalwebsite.com/article.
That makes sense. What about in-text citations for longer quotes?
For quotes longer than 4 lines, you format them as a block quote. Introduce the quote with a colon, start the quote on a new line, and indent the entire quote 1 inch from the left margin without quotation marks. The in-text citation comes after the closing punctuation.
Can you give me an example of a block quote?
Sure. Here's an example. Smith discusses the importance of the study in detail. Arduino copy code. The significance of this research cannot be overstated. Through careful analysis and comprehensive data collection, the findings provide a new understanding of the topic. These results will undoubtedly influence future studies and contribute to the broader field of knowledge. Smith 45.
This is very helpful. Thanks for the detailed explanation, B.
You're welcome. A proper quoting and citation are crucial for maintaining academic integrity and giving credit to original authors. Keep practicing, and you'll get the hang of it.
Hey B, can we dive deeper into some specifics about MLA citations? I want to discuss the number, publishers, abbreviations, and all those details.
Absolutely. Let's start with the number. In MLA style, the number typically refers to sources that are part of a numbered sequence, such as volumes and issues of journals.
How do I format that in my citation?
If you're citing a journal article, for example, you'll include the volume and issue number in your citation. The format is volume X, no Y. Here's an example. Jones, Mary. Interesting article. Journal of Important Studies, Volume 10, No. 3, 2020, pages 45-67.
That makes sense. Now, what about publishers? How do I handle that?
The publisher is the entity responsible for producing or distributing the source. For books, it's the company that published the book. For journals, it's often the academic or professional organization.
And where do I find the publisher information?
You can usually find the publisher on the title page or the copyright page of a book. For online sources, it's often listed at the bottom of the page or in the website's footer.
How should the publisher's name be formatted?
The publisher's name should be included in your citation after the title of the source or the container, followed by a comma. For example, Smith, John. The Great Book. Penguin, 2019.
What if the publisher's name includes terms like company or incorporated? Do I include those?
No, you should omit terms like company, incorporated, limited, and company from the publisher's name. For example, if the publisher is Penguin Books Incorporated, you just write Penguin.
Are there any standard abbreviations I should use for publishers' names?
Yes, there are a few standard abbreviations. For example, University Press is abbreviated as UP. So, Oxford University Press would be Oxford UP.
Got it. Now, what about the publisher's city?
In 8th edition and later, the publisher's city is generally not required in the citation. However, if you're using an earlier edition of MLA, you would include the city of publication before the publisher's name. For example, Smith, John. The Great Book. New York, Penguin, 2019.
What about the publication date? How should that be formatted?
The date of publication should be included after the publisher's name, followed by a comma. For example, Smith, John. The Great Book. Penguin, 2019. For journal articles, you might have a more specific date like the month or season. Jones, Mary. Interesting article. Journal of Important Studies, Volume 10, No. 3, Summer 2020, pages 45-67.
And the location? Where should they be placed?
The location varies depending on the source type. For books, it's often the page range of a chapter or essay. For online sources, it's the URL or DOI. Here's an example for a journal article accessed online. Jones, Mary. Interesting article. Journal of Important Studies, Volume 10, No. 3, Summer 2020, pages 45-67. www.journalwebsite.com/article.
This is really thorough, thanks. Just to clarify, the publisher information would look like this in a full citation for a book?
Exactly. Here's a complete example. Smith, John. The Great Book. Penguin, 2019. And for an online journal article, Jones, Mary. Interesting article. Journal of Important Studies, Volume 10, No. 3, Summer 2020, pages 45-67. www.journalwebsite.com/article.
This is great. Thanks for breaking it down for me.